That point, a lot of this was gonna pertain to when I was in Vancouver alone. I was staying with my family, my cousins, and I think it was probably third or fourth semester of Vancouver Film School. I was waking up at 5 every day, getting to school for 6, staying at school till a minimum of 6 p.m., maybe till like 9. Like, I just felt like shit. Like, can I swear? I'm allowed to swear.
Of course.
Okay. I felt like absolute garbage, like 90% of the time because I was just working and like I didn't really have any sort of like outside contact with people from like my friend or like my friends from Winnipeg. I wasn't really talking to them at the moment. When I was at school, like my classmates were my colleagues and they were friends with me, but like I had maybe like two or three of my classmates who were like a year or two older than me, but the rest, everyone's like 30 to 40s to 50s, so it's kind of hard to make that connection with them. So I was kind of like just like, because I couldn't really connect with anybody in my class that way, I'm very used to having closer interpersonal relationships with people because like that's just the person that I am. I felt like I wasn't like getting any love when I was out there, and what actually that stuck with me for a very long time. That was like 2020 to probably 2021 and like the beginning half ish of like 2022, and I think it's really funny. When me and Nathan went to a nice little concert for the Burton Block Coming Theater party, we went to a Peach Pit concert, and I met some new people who I saw yesterday. Really, those people just kind of reminded me like the standards for which I have for my friendships, and for like the fact that yeah, you are deserving of love. You know, we accept the love we think we deserve, and ooh, ooh, oh. Anyways, I was kind of at that moment where I was like, no, I think I can be deserving, and I think I can be the type that takes up space and says that I love my friends and all that because the things that I give to other people are within me as well. So honestly, it's a very recent development, and it took me a very long time to get over a lot of burnout and emotional baggage and all that. But now, like, flowing, shining, rocking on, and all that. But yeah, it's a little thing.
What is something you feel misunderstood about?
Damn. You got some good questions for me.
Maybe we're trying to answering about it.
I think one thing about me specifically is that people read into what they see and what they hear on the surface level too much. Um, because for me personally, like a lot of the times it's like a face kind of thing, like a mask I have to wear. It's like a very like maybe like ADHD, autism, like masking kind of thing. And and the reason I bring this up is because I remember there's a day I was actually talking to Nathan and we were in the car driving, and I asked Nathan, hey, like, do you ever think people notice the level of detail that I put into things or like all the little things that I do? And he's like, no. And that kind of shook me for a bit. I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? He's just like, well, they're not you. And most people don't even bother to look into things that deeply anyways. And that was one thing where I was just like, I always feel misunderstood about that because everything that I do, like, there's the very blatant context of what it is, and there is always subtext. There's always something else that's there that like these are the words that I can't say. So here's me trying to be like artistic and creative in that way, so that you can understand a similar thing like under it. Like I can be really straightforward and confident about certain things that I talk about, whether it be the way that I love my friends and the way that I express myself. However, getting more deeper into it, there's a lot of like walls and boundaries that I've put up myself for one, just like my own protection, but two, to see if anyone would ever kind of be brave enough to tear them down. And so that's why they're always there. And that's why I always feel like I'm misunderstood because people never really seem to be able to read that subtext. But I kind of don't mind because the few people that can, or the few people that will delve into that and will, like, make me feel loved and appreciated in a way that I don't really know how to describe. But it's really fresh and it's really different. And I feel like, especially in this last month or so, there's been a person or two who has kind of gotten me like that and has matched my energy like that. So it's a fresh feeling. It's a new feeling. But yeah.
What parts of yourself have you always felt the need to like change, but now you've learned to accept and like embrace?
Oh, I'm weird. I'm so weird, and like I realize that's not even just like being autistic or being ADHD. It's just like the type of upbringing that I had. I was on comics, I was on video games. I was just like the kid that read like every single book about whatever I wanted to. Like I realized that I'm a very like multi-talented and like multi-interested kind of person, and I always tried to change that. I always tried to be like, let's focus on one thing. Let's do one thing at a time. But like that's just not how my brain is wired. I do like a million different things at like every different time. Like I could be playing games with my friends one day. I might go out to the gardens just to like see like the flora and fauna that are there and try to identify flowers and mushrooms or something. And maybe the next day I'm out in the woods doing mushrooms to meditate and just to think on the things I've been doing for like the last 2 months. It's like it's always like that. Like every single time you call me, I'm probably doing something like just strange, but like I like that. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I'm not talking to my friends for a week and they're like, "Oh, where were you?" "Oh, I was in Vancouver for 2 weeks." And they're like, "You didn't even tell me that. Like, where'd you go?" I'm like, I mean, I was just like doing my own thing. And it's like sometimes I'm playing guitar, sometimes I'm singing, sometimes I'm just doing whatever. And like I used to think that I had to be like this one dimensional person. I used to think that um, I was my identity, but not my identity was a part of myself. So it's just like I'm Josh, the sound designer. I am Josh, the singer. I am Josh, the musician. No, I'm Josh. I do sing. I do sound design. I do art. I do poetry. I do all these things. Like they are separate from me because ultimately the person that I am is different from the things that I do. And it took a really, really long time for me to kind of make that distinction. But now that I'm here and I'm just weird and I embrace it all, like I mean, my friends have said it tons. I look different, I am different, and I am happy in a different way that feels very close to when I was a kid. And I'm just like smiling, being goofy. And yeah, that's just something that kind of got back to. Yeah.
You brought up when you're a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about that.
I couldn't tell you a damn thing.
No?
I couldn't tell you a single damn thing because I do not remember. And I don't know.
Do you wish you did?
Yeah, I do wish I did. It's just like I feel like in my own childhood, because I was weird, I had a lot of different interests in a lot of my cousins, and they would always try to like get me to do things that I just didn't want to do. And so I was just like, I don't care to remember any of that shit because I'm just like, you just like made me do things I didn't want to do. I explicitly told you I don't want to do this, and like you still forced me. And like to a certain degree, I think especially children should be able to get into like do things like you should be able to be like, hey, like just see if you like this. But I feel like at a very young age, I knew what I didn't and did like, and people just didn't believe me, and I was just like, well fuck y'all, like I don't care, like just let me do my thing. And because like most of the time my thing was just something separate in the corner, but like I don't have to interact with people like directly to feel like I am connected to you. Like sometimes I'm literally hanging out with Nathan and we're both doing two separate things, but like that's just like that's love in a different way, you know what I mean? It's just it is what it is. And I feel like especially as a neurodivergent person, I think neurotypical people need to kind of understand that people are wired very differently. Some of us are wired very, very differently, and the ways that we absorb and give love is just different from what you used to. So let the weirdness be weird. Just embrace it, because like that's life, man. If everyone acted the same and was like able to translate everything for themselves identically, that's so boring, man. Like spice it up, be weird.
You know, I think people think that like being weird and different is like being weird, being I guess different isn't maybe to like some of like society standards. It's like I don't know if the term's out of pocket. Like they don't normalize the idea that there's things outside of I guess.
Yeah, I think people can be really close-minded. I feel like, especially like, what's something that was? Oh, actually, spirituality, and so in spirituality in relation to people who believe in science, and then those who are religious. I think all three of those things are actually tied together in some sort of way, shape, or form. But like people from like those specific like sects of belief, like don't really either realize that or don't really care to think about those things. So like they're so like narrow in their view, and I'm just like, yo man, I'm sorry, the way that the universe came all the way together, if you really think about that, it's just luck on luck on luck on luck on luck on luck. And so it's just like, how are you so sure that like this one way that some white man, like old ass white man explained it like how many years ago is like the one way that it is? Like I'm sorry, I open up a textbook, I don't like, there's no spice in that textbook, there's no seasoning in that damn textbook, it doesn't even provoke thought like that's it, like anything different. So it's just like, keep an open mind. People believe a bunch of weird things. Who cares if it's something different from like what you believe? Like at the very least, have enough humanity within yourself to respect it.
I guess with having experience, with things kind of like psychedelics and whatnot, like I know like you come to realizations when you do these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the time, it like a big thing that I think people tend to notice is like it breaks things down to its core.
Mm-hmm.
And then a big thing tied to that is something. Well, I like to pick, but there's a lot of things you can talk about: time, memory, seeing things for what they are. What do those things and the lessons you've learned within all of that, like what does that mean to you? Memory, memory with your family,
You know,
nostalgia, even.
speaking to psychedelics is really interesting because I feel like before them I was a pretty open-minded person, and then I did mushrooms for the first time, and then it like completely knocked my head off and made me think about things in a very different way. It's honestly it's a hard kind of thing to explain to people because it's a lot of the times those kind of things are things to be experienced rather than things that you can really explain. But if I were to say anything, ooh, it's kind of difficult. It is kind of difficult because all I can really say is that I've changed the way that I look at the world because it's strange to think that this little it's almost not even a plant. It's its own kingdom something, but this little thing can alter your world in such a way where you just think completely differently. And honestly, like it literally alters your brain chemistry, which is kind of cool. Um, just honestly, if I were to take anything away, it's just like people are far too closed off to the idea that the way that they think is wrong, and I think a lot of people are not open to the idea of having their beliefs changed because their beliefs are themselves, not a part of themselves. And so when you shatter that belief or you bring them things that counter the way that they perceive that they are on the inside and it can only be that particular way, it kind of just like makes them angry instead of having them come to an understanding. Because like one of the things about myself that I quite enjoy is that I'm very very open to learning new things about myself and also the way that the world works. Because I don't know, man. I'm not like genuinely. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a person. I'm literally just living, and I literally learn new things about myself and the people around me every day. And so it's just like, just take it every day, and that's kind of all you have to do. The past doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. Right now it does. So why not think about today and stay present instead of dwelling too much? Though don't completely forget about the past and not think about the future, but stay present best you can. That kind of thing.
So to add on to that, because I think a lot of people have to even come to the realization that like there's a set of beliefs that you grew up with that can be broken down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think is the importance of things like the limiting beliefs, memories of our past, things that we've been through growing up? How does that all contribute to not even just your own, but like anyone else's self discovery at like now or even down the line?
A line that comes to my head is from Father Time by Kendrick. Everything that I wasn't, or what was it, the line specifically? It's basically everything that you are is everything that you aren't. Everything that you aren't is everything that you are. And we're speaking to your past. Everything that you hated about your past forms who you are right now, but also everything that you loved about it does as well. And I think it's interesting to see how small decisions when you're a little kid and small decisions that other people made for you when you were growing up morph into these huge things. Like you literally have people who had like small disagreements with their parents when they were very young, which turns into rebellion into the teenage years, which turns into a lot of distance and space when you grow up. You have kids like myself who had really strict parents growing up where like you couldn't really see your friends. You went out once, you can't go out again. You went out once on Saturday, you want to go out on Sunday. Like, did you clean the whole house? Did you do all your chores? Did you do all your homework? Have you done all your math tables? Like, and then that turns into you don't really talk to your parents too much into you're an adult. How come you don't call us anymore? I think things like that are like absolutely insane. But in the same vein, I played video games when I was a little kid. I still remember being at church, little N64, Smash Bros. I remember playing that for the first time, and then I started with like Tales of Symphonia, like Beautiful Joe on GameCube, and now I'm playing games on my computer like every day. When it comes to the past, I think it's important to look at it from a lens of learning and understanding, because I feel like there's always going to be anger associated with the past because it's just like as you grow up, you realize why you made certain decisions, why like in that particular frame of mind you did that. But now that you know more beyond that, you're like, oh, I could have went about this a different way. oh, I understand why I'm the way I am because of this, and like it's not because this is me. This is an idea that someone planted in my head. This is a voice that someone put in my head, and I need to take it out, kind of thing. Yeah.
Two more questions. So the mind gets loud a lot, right? I think a lot of us have our moments of like the breeze on my skin, the sun on my skin,
Mm-hmm.
things that take us away from that. So what is that to you? And can you describe it, like the sensations, in the most you way, without even having to worry about making sense?
Yeah. Honestly, as much as I like, so I've actually talked with Nathan about this quite a lot, and I still think it's gonna happen eventually. But one thing I told him is that I think one day I'm gonna be alone in my own company, and I'm gonna enjoy it, and I'm not really gonna seek out anybody else anymore. And I don't know why that is something that is like so strongly in my head. I always think about it like it's kind of weird to say like I feel like I want to be that type that's like literally like on an island by myself, self-sufficient, just doing my own thing. And I've always talked about it in a negative light, but now I think about it in a more positive light. I am a person that is, though introverted, very social, but at the end of the day, to feel like the breeze on my skin, to like really feel alive, there's something about being by myself and like being in my own company that always does that for me. Um, I still remember this. This is very very distinct memory. It was 3 a.m. I just impromptu decided to do mushrooms at a Golden Teachers just to think about how my life and everything was going, and I don't think I have felt more alive in a very very long time. I still remember the ambiance. I was listening to a playlist I made, 35 songs. The first song was Godspeed by Frank Ocean. It was raining a little bit. I was wearing black sweatpants, short white tube socks with not these, but those dirty Air Force Ones. I was wearing my Diadora tracksuit that I got from Toronto when I went in 2017. Like I remember everything about that, and I felt very alive because at that moment I felt like I was myself, and it was the first time in a while where the distance between who I thought I was, the distance between the person that I knew that I wasn't, and then the person that I am, kind of all merged together. Like in one, I was like, "Hey, it's nice to be back." And it's like a very like it's a feeling that comes and goes for me because I feel like I am like very like I don't have split personalities, but I feel like I'm split as a person a lot, like just in my head because there's a million ideas floating around in here, and it's literally just like and then fishing out an idea and doing something. But um, yeah, yeah. And also sometimes that's what people though. Sometimes like it's not always by myself. Like yesterday when I was like amongst friends, it was my friend's birthday party. She turned 22. Like being social for the first time. That's the first time I'd gone to like an actual house party where I felt like I didn't just want to stay in the corner with a cat or a dog for like in like 3 years. Like I actually talked to everyone at that party. I had a lot of social interaction, and I actually made quite a few new friends, which is great. And there's some old faces there too that I quite enjoyed, and that is also where I feel alive because I feel like the only reason why I am introverted is because like my parents wouldn't let me go out with my friends. But the moment that I was able to actually go out and see them, I'm there, I'm in it kind of thing. So yeah.
So what is it to be alive?
What is it to be alive? It's to understand that you're gonna die. To be quite honest with you, I think I used to be really scared of dying, but now I don't really give a shit because I was dead for billions of years. I'm gonna be dead for billions more after this. I'm just gonna love really loud. I'm gonna love really hard. I'm gonna try my best to actually break out of my shell and say something to the people that I really love before they're gone. I don't know. Life is scary, but that means you can be courageous. When can you be courageous? When you're scared. Like the only time, right? Life throws you so many situations where you can be fearful and you can back down, but like I kind of hate that shit to be honest. I'm too feisty. I'm too rowdy to just like take things sitting down. So now I'm just like, no, I love you. I appreciate you. I like your presence. I've said it to a couple friends straight up. I'll say it to their face. Your presence will be missed in my life, so don't go anywhere. And it's not, and that's the thing too. That's no longer out of loneliness, but out of like, I want you to be here, and I want you to know that I want you to be here. And if you were gone, I would miss you. You know, just being very rooted in the presence of the person that I am. And honestly, It's fun. Like life is like a really really fun journey right now. I'm in a place I didn't think I was gonna be back here, but COVID put my ass back here and probably for a good reason. Um, and I want to see how I write my story every day because I do write it every day. And I think one thing I want to say to people is that you know how there's those days that you have where you think life is passing you by? That's life too. Those days are all life too. So don't forget that. Because you know sometimes it's a little bit menial with the work that you do every day, but that's still your life. So use it and make it beautiful. Yeah,
Got one more question for you.
of course.
If you could give your younger self one piece of advice, or if you were to be face to face with your younger self per se, what would you say, or what would the advice be, and why? And how does this reflect on your own kind of personal experience?
Gotcha. Okay, so first and foremost, okay, younger Josh, what's going on? Hi, I'm 22 now. It's kind of crazy. We didn't think we were gonna go past 18. We've had no plan for 4 years. I know it's crazy, but some advice for you. You need to punch more people. Okay, first and foremost, there are too many people that you let walk all over you because your parents didn't say shit. No, if you had the opportunity to knock out so many teeth and you didn't, good on you, but you should have been more violent. 2, yes, you are weird, but you're weird in a way that these bitches can't understand. So like, who cares about them? Like seriously, like they don't dress like you, they don't talk like you, they don't enjoy like you, and like they're just there to redirect you somewhere else, right? People walk out of your life, sure. More people are gonna love you. There are so many people in this world that are going to love you. So please just let people walk. Because if that is what they do, at the end of the day, no matter whatever the fuck you do, they're gonna do it regardless of what input that you have. 3, okay, look, your mom and dad, that's complicated. That is really, really complicated. And you're going to learn about immigrant parents, you're gonna learn about parenting styles, attachment styles, you're gonna learn so much. And you're gonna be really angry for like 3 years. Like you're gonna like have this period when you're in high school where you're like, fuck these bitches. But I assure you, you're gonna simmer down and you're gonna realize that that anger is valid, but you're not using it in the right way. You have the right idea, but you're putting yourself in the wrong direction. Say something. Say something. Like you have a lot to say, so say it. Your friends even tell you they're surprised you don't do public speaking, and honestly, me fucking too. But say something. Stop holding it in. We're all gonna die. You know that too. Bitch, you wanted to die for a while, so maybe just say it and be embarrassed and be rejected or what have you. But just do it. But on the more loving side, because I love bitching at myself and I love bitching in general. You are a really creative kid, and you should step into that instead of being scared. I think you definitely care a lot, which is good, but I think you care about the wrong things right now. And if I were to give you any sort of advice, it would be just focus on yourself and the things that you like. You put all these people onto games and anime and music, and they didn't give you any credit for it. That's because they're bitches. So don't worry about that. Just do you. You've always found things for yourself. You always love things for yourself. So keep doing that because you can't live your life for other people. You can try so hard to live vicariously through other people, but then what happens when you're in love? What happens when you shut the door? You pop in the keys. You're in your room alone. What then? So yes, have good friends. Yes, love the people around you, but you at the end of the day, who comes home to you? It's yourself. So do yourself a favor and remember that every day. Not selfishly. Don't be selfish about it, because that's you. But remember to give yourself that love you deserve. Because yes, we do accept the love that we deserve, but also we should give ourselves the love that we give out to our friends. Because I'm just saying, I'd be giving some good ass advice and never take it for myself, and I need to stop doing that. But yeah, and if anything, if I actually did get to say this, I love you, you little shit. You're me, and you're kind of annoying in the way that you are right now, but that's because you're an angsty teenager. So go about your shit, go fuck up, get rejected a bunch, go drink when you're like 16 and get too fucked up and then come home, smoke weed for the first time with your buddy that you haven't seen in 5 years, do whatever the hell you want. Just have fun. And make sure you don't go into a sketchy too late at night because you know, like you can fight, but like you don't want to have to fight if you don't want to, right? There you go. Bye.